Thanks, as always, for doing this. So, I mean, let's get right to, I was going to say let's get right to business here. We like to do that. But Shai Davidi's reported that Spencer Horwitz is with the team. I don't know what you can tell us on his availability, what move has been made, if a move has been made, and what the thinking would be involved in that move.
Yeah, can't tell you anything right now. Still kind of working through everything. Nothing official yet. That's kind of all I got on it right now. But I may have a little bit more a little bit later today.
Okay. Having said that, I know that you guys look, it's been clear you've been following. People have been talking about Spencer Horwitz, the organization. Again, without state secrets here, what has he done? What have you guys seen him do this year that he maybe hasn't done in previous seasons?
I think it's been pretty similar to what he's done with a little bit more power. I think that's the difference. I think he's a little bit more comfortable defensively, both first and second. And, just the on base is obviously huge. That's kind of been his thing over the course of his career, especially the last couple of years. So I think the on base and the power is kind of what you're looking at too.
All right. John, why can't your team score in the first inning? It's what, 20? I mean, that to me is one of those things that just has to be fluke. It has to be.
Yeah, I think we're second in the league in runs in the second inning. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, if it gets any farther, I'm just going to switch the, 4, 5, 6 are going to go 1, 2, 3 instead of 1, 2, 3. But it's weird. It's a fluke thing. You're getting the pitcher's best stuff, obviously, in the first inning. We've had chances. I think Varsh hits a double or a triple the other day, and we didn't get him in. It's weird. You know what I mean? I don't think that you can put too much into it. It is a fluke thing. A lot of these pitchers too, it's, first time you see them and, like yesterday, it kind of takes a time through the order to get used to someone. As much work as you do and machine work and project and all this kind of stuff, you got to kind of feel what the pitcher's doing that day. And it's been a weird thing for sure. Yesterday, I told Davis just to see a strike and go deep, just hit one out, get us on the board. He struck out, but it's a weird thing. Weird thing for sure.
I would think too. I mean, there are some things that you can, I'm not going to say waste your time looking at, but are there still some things that defy analysis in the game? Just some things you just go, you can throw all the math at it you want and whatever, and it's just, you just throw your arms up and go, we got a game tonight. Let's try not to make it 30. That's about all you can do.
Yeah. It's the beauty of playing every day. And this game's weird, just when you think that, someone's not going to come through, or this is a tough matchup for us or them. A guy hits a home run or strikes out the side. You try to be as consistent as you can with putting guys in spots and all that kind of stuff. And the game's weird. The game's different every single night. And guys aren't worrying about, the first inning thing. Obviously, you want to get on the board. And it gets a little bit around the clubhouse, and there's been some jokes, but they're not worried about it, which is a good thing.
John, whenever Vladdy is hitting the ball to the opposite field with authority, is he doing anything different?
No, I think where he's being pitched a little bit, just pitches that he's swinging out over the plate, it is encouraging when he's hitting the ball like he did yesterday for the home run and the ball off the wall. It's encouraging that he is synced up. His toe tap, his swing path is synced up. We've seen it enough. I've seen it enough from, out of him over the years. When he's doing that, when he's not in sync, I think you see a ground ball to short there or a pop up or something like that. So that was a huge swing yesterday. His at-bats have been phenomenal over the last couple of weeks. And I think the home runs are going to kind of start to follow as you see him stay in that part of the field.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge for Bo at the plate this season?
Part of it's probably, looking for his swing. The thing with Bo is when his swing is on, he's going to cover everything. You know what I mean? And pitchers are pitching him, they're pitching him in a little bit more because of his ability to shoot the ball to right field or drive the ball to right field. So I think it was just with Bo, it's just kind of a combination of timing between those two things. Part of it feeling for his swing, not anymore, I don't think. And then just kind of where he's being pitched. So encouraged by his last couple games, although the results weren't quite there for Bo's standards. But again, I've said it all along, track record that he has, it's about as sure things you're going to get that Bo's going to hit. And, we obviously need him to.
John, do you think, he's a very aggressive hitter? We all know that. We've seen him. He likes to swing it. He ain't going to take, right? I'm in swing mode all the time. Do you think he mentally is one of those people, because he is a swinger, that can say, okay, for whatever reason, I'm just not getting to all those parts. I have to look right down the middle for just a little while. You think he's capable? Because when he is looking right down the middle, I think the last couple of days he's gotten some hits and balls right down the middle. Do you think he's capable of laying off of all that other stuff and trying to force him in the middle of the zone?
I think he is, and people don't hear how much he talks about it. It's it's like a 3-point shooter. They always say shoot or shoot, right?
Yeah.
Hit or swing. That's kind of like, I'm gonna swing until I feel right. But I think there are some times where you can flip in a bat to where you see the foul balls that are a tick up or a tick outside of the zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's close, but it's not quite there, or it could have been 1-0, things like that. That's stuff he's working on all the time. And hitting is just hitting mistakes. You know what I mean? Whether it's us or the other team. So he's just got to be ready for those mistakes. And I think that's kind of where he was a little bit with the swing. And when the swing wasn't quite there in his mind, he was probably getting more mistakes. Now the swing feels better, and he's getting less and less. So just a matter of time till it evens out, I think.
John, Kevin and I were talking about Danny Jansen and looking at, I think he's 4 for his last 30. But if you look at he either gets multiple hits in a game. Recently, it seems he's 2 for 4 or 2 for 5, or he's 0 for 4. Are you still trying to find the balance between Jano and Alejandro Kirk when it comes to rest versus playing? And I guess what I'm saying is, could that change a little more in the next week or so? Because Kirky does. I understand Kirky seems fresher because he's not playing as much, and you've got to balance that. But could you see that maybe readjusting a little bit?
I think so, yeah. And Kirky's been, quietly much more, a closer version to himself from a couple of years ago in a couple of weeks. What they both do behind the plate, I love. I know Kirky, grades out as an elite pitch framer, receiver, blocker, as does Jano. But yeah, I could see it to try to keep them both fresh. There's a fine line between riding a hot hand and then riding it too long until that hot hand doesn't become hot anymore. Mm-hmm. And trying to kind of stick with the norms that we've been doing. I think it keeps them both healthy. I think it keeps them both productive. And, for a while, Jano was carrying us, so you want to try to take advantage of it. But it is tough to kind of know when to pull the reins a little bit and just say, okay, we got to make sure that both guys are staying involved in the right spots and things like that. But I could see it adjusting back to a little bit more of how it's been.
John, what do you think the pitching? Yeah, absolutely. What do you think the pitching staff as a whole has to do to control the home runs they've been giving up?
Yeah, as a whole, they're going to happen. They're going to happen. With starters, you're throwing, call it 100 pitches a day, and you're just trying to minimize mistakes. And you just got to look at your pitches. I think that in this day and age, it's funny. We got guys have such good stuff, and they throw the ball so hard. Starters and relievers, you can get away with stuff in the middle of the zone. Now, I think you can get away with it more often as a reliever than you do as a starter, just because you're seeing less of that pitcher. But it comes down to, I think us, like every organization, it's get ahead and then try to take the ball out of the zone a little bit more as you get more strikes. Sometimes when you're trying to do that, you're trying to make too good of a pitch. You hang it. Hitters feast on that. Sometimes you talk about it so much, you end up doing it. When we're talking about, hey, we want to go strike the ball with the slider, or we want to go back to a breaking ball and you yank it middle. So it's just coming down to making pitches. Just understanding that every pitch is important, and it doesn't matter who you're facing. It doesn't matter what team or what player you're facing. These guys are all good. So every pitch has to have a purpose, and you're just trying to limit those mistakes.
Chad Green looks predictable. What do you think's changed other than he's healthy now?
Not much. Healthy. His stuff is basically the same every time out. He's done that over his whole career, whether it's here in New York. You know exactly what you're going to get for the most part when he's out there. So I think just being himself, being healthy, a guy we're going to rely on. It's been awesome to have him back, and you forget how much you really, really enjoy having him when he's not there, and then he gets back and kind of picks up where he left off.
What are the plans for Sunday starter right now? I see that it's TBA. Does that depend very much on how the first 2 games of this series go? And I'll also ask you if you have an update in Alec Manoah. I know he went to visit Dr. Meister, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah.
Have you got an update on that? And what are your plans for Sunday right now?
Yeah, for Sunday, it's still kind of to be determined based on how tonight and tomorrow go. Could be a similar look to what we did last turn through. And then as far as Alec, we will probably have more information later today, either right before or after the game. Just getting in touch with all the medical people, doctors, our medical people, and just sorting through that. So we'll have an update later today on him.
John, what does Chris have to do tonight to give you a good start and some length? I know that's sort of the thing, right? Is not 5 innings. How does he give you 7 and sort of be the Chris that we all are used to seeing?
Yeah, back in his old stomping grounds here. He needs to throw all of his pitches. When he's throwing curveball and sweeper and not getting it was funny, his last outing, he was so strong and stuff was so good. I think he was trying to overpower hitters, which is not his game at all. He can at times. But when he's mixing everything and keeping hitters back and forth in between with soft, hard, he's really damn good, And when you have that and when you're locating, he's the throwback pitcher to where he's trying to locate every single pitch and every pitch has a purpose for him. If he's doing that, he's going to be just fine. He's a guy too. Pitch count doesn't really mean much to me, him or Pete. He's kind of, he's a pitcher. He's not a thrower. You know what I mean? He's not going to get exhausted out there, even though he looks like he is at times. But he's got to throw his pitches, man. When he's keeping hitters off balance and going back and forth, that's Chris's A game, and he gets deep into the ball game.
Any difference for you and Petey with Yimi Garcia in the 9th inning solely now than with him being, the sort of the hybrid guy where you could throw him 6th, 7th, or 8th inning?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not huge. His stuff is his stuff, and I still think he's one of the best relievers in the game right now. But I think as you kind of go into that closer role, you're just being prepared for a little bit more. Teams are talking about you in the advance. Okay, this guy's closing. They'll look at your pitch patterns a little bit more in depth, I would say, and you have to be able to adjust in certain times. So the fact that he has 3 or 4 pitches, he has the ability to really kind of maneuver however he wants. Yesterday, he came out throwing more heaters, first and second pitch than he has in the past. So it's just tweaking, I think, kind of patterns that you can get into when you're pitching in other situations when kind of goes under the radar a little bit. But it is cool that he's, available for 4 outs or 5 outs. You know what I mean? We can still use him in that capacity too, but talk to him a little bit about kind of just pitch patterning, things like that.
Yeah, it's last one, John, before we let you go. It's great stuff. What's it say about your team after you got, you got stomped the first 2 games against the Orioles. They're a really, really good team. And then you didn't. I know this is a marathon, not a sprint. And, you got a short-term memory, but you still got stomped. I mean, that can't be the easiest thing in a clubhouse and where you guys are at in the standings and what your record is. What's it say about your team, John, to come back like they did?
A lot. Again, I said it yesterday. I couldn't be, more proud of the way they came back. You walk off a team and you walk off a, probable Hall of Fame closer. And then the next day you come out, you score, big homer from Vladdy. You add on runs between Izzy and Ernie. It was awesome. That's a damn good team. They can score in a hurry. And their pitching is a lot better than it has been over the years. But the first 2, they were tough, and I think especially the second one, it was like, okay, damn, there's a difference between getting beat and losing, and we got beat, you know what I mean? So for the guys to come back, really compete in that 3rd game and then walk it off, and then, their mindset after the second game, it was cool to hear just talking before the game on Wednesday. It was just like, all right, hey, we got a chance to split, and this is what we're doing. This is how we're thinking. So it is cool that you play every day. It is hard when things don't go your way. You guys hear me say it all the time. You got to flush it, move on. It sounds so cliche. I get it. You know what I mean? But that's the beauty of playing every day. You got to do it again the next day. And if you win, you got to do it again the next day. It's hard. It's hard for the guys to do that every day. But to their credit, man, they battled their asses off, and I love the way we ended there.
Yep.
John, really good of you to
Great
do
stuff,
this as
buddy.
always, my friend. Go get him tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
All right,
Thanks, man.
guys.
Good
Be
luck.
well.
You bet.
See you,
Thank
Dom.
you.